Well, so much for circling the wagons.
The haka respect. The haka is about your expression, about what you're going to do. England stand there, they wear it. New Zealand, they get it done.
Blair, Luke and Marshall in the front line if looks could kill. So England will get us underway. Jamie Peacock, former man of steel. Speaking of those in charge, 2 referees in the NRL next season, but tonight Shane Hayne is the sole man with responsibility to get this show on the road. He says, let's get it on. Semi-final number 1 is underway at the Cauldron, Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. And it's the Kiwis with first use of the football. And Kalis, the captain, one of 4 New Zealanders returning tonight, put away by Graham on the 10-metre line. The English looking to muscle up in defence early on. Perrott. And now an incisive run from Thomas Luluwai, wearing 9 tonight, playing hooker. And they get an early penalty. Good piggyback after just 30 seconds.
Nice, good start from New Zealand. Slow play the ball from Kalis. Perrott got it and did his work. And then Luluwai in the 9 jumper here gets a good duck out of dummy half. Now that's the position he'll play. He's not playing 7, remember. Plenty of coppers come his way. He's in the 9 jumper now. So let's get on with it and support him.
Well, he was basically there last week. It was only the jerseys that were contradicting that. So straight away, after 60 seconds, New Zealand up to halfway. Luluwai serves it up for Kalis. International mainstay for a decade now. 9 metres, England side of halfway. Options left and right. And they go to Marshall, back on the inside. And David Fa'alongo goes to ground, 35 metres away. Jeremy Smith now looking to cut through. Had the arm extended too. He took some stopping. Westwood in the end got there, and they were lucky not to concede the penalty for the flop. Fee now probing for a hold. Nothing on this occasion. He goes to ground 18 metres away, and Shane Hayne has the arm extended. They go to the fullback in Hohire. He launches the bomb. A test out wide for Calderwood. He makes a meal of it. The Kiwis surely will get it back. No, knock on. Knock on both ways. First against New Zealand, so England will come away with it. It was a near thing there for the Lions, Peter Roparty.
No, it's a wonderful start there by the Kiwis, certainly achieving what they need to do, and that's about getting some momentum. The defensive line, yet again, we're seeing out of England, as we saw last week in Newcastle. Plenty of numbers, take the speed out of the ground, find themselves composed, a good defensive line, plenty of speed in it. This is a game of footy. Get ready for it, 80 minutes. You will not get the break we saw last week.
Well, England's intentions are clear, but this time it backfires. Adi Gardner, who was the tournament's opening try scorer, has come up with a knock-on, only 20 metres out from his own goal. But the intentions, Chook, they are very clear-cut.
The first time they get the ball, they decided to shift it right outside their own 20. Sometimes the best time to attack. The end of this, it was right on the money. Look at Gardner, right on the chalk. He wanted to have a crack at Vatuvai. Takes his eyes off the ball and grasses it.
So the Kiwis now attack the short side. Let's see what they've got here. 16 metres away. They've knocked it on. Jerome Roparty has come up with a spill. He's eyeballing Shane Hayne. The referee will not change his decision, of course.
Last week, Jerome Roparty off the scrum, ducked out to the left, created a try one play later from Manu Vatuvai. Was that ball helped by the English?
I don't think so.
Poor carry.
I'm sure the message has gone out from Stephen Kearney and Wayne Bennett. Of course, Bennett knows his place so well. 6 times getting the Broncos home. So England with Wellens playing it back. And the Lions now bringing the ball away from the Milton Road end of the ground with Jamie Peacock, their captain, 26 metres away. And they come the short side with Gareth Ellis. And he's repelled by the New Zealand defence. The expat Kiwis loving that. Mannering there, right on the job for the Kiwis. This is Graham, you can't miss him. Plays it back now for Roby, who darts out a dummy half, links up with Maguire, who is in the 5/8 role tonight, or stand off, call it what you like. No Leon Price there, he's off the bench. That pass was flat, maybe forward. Shane Hayne, though, didn't have a problem with it. And the Kiwis have got possession here with Lance Hohire.
Costa, I like the work of Roby, the number 9 for Great Britain. He is composed around the ruck. He ducks out to his left, passes back across the ruck and finds a runner on the right. Very accomplished.
And the Kiwis now with Sam Perrott with a sortie out of dummy half. Part of this quartet returning tonight, 10 metres short of halfway. They were looking for Blair, but Lulawai says, I'll have a crack myself. 2 runs in the opening 5 minutes for Thomas, the only player from the Northern Hemisphere for the Kiwis on deck tonight. The clearing kick has been taken on the full by Wellens. And look at the black jumpers. The chase is good. He doesn't go too far. 25 out from his own line. And Bronson Harrison has given away a penalty here. Not sure what he was trying to sell to the referee, but Shane Hayne didn't want to have a bar of it.
Disappointing. Fiend had kicked early. Didn't quite get it over the head of Wellens, who attacked the football and brought it back. And then a cheap penalty. New Zealand's had one in this area already. Great Britain get their first one.
Just not clearing in sufficient time. 1-1 is the penalty count. This is James Graham right in front of our commentary position. We've got a delay, 2 footballs on the park. And back to work we go. Burrow missing out Peacock. 6 tries in his last 8 test matches for Rob Burrow. We've seen one of the Kiwis tumble over in the defensive line. It was rather comical, to say the least, for some of the fans. This is Wellens. And now England working the short side with Roby, the man that Daryl Halligan was just giving a rap to a couple of minutes ago. He plays it back here on the 30 of New Zealand's. This is Burrow, a dummy back in the inside to Peacock, and the captain stands and delivers. Back now for Westwood. And the 5th and final has been signalled. I'll come back to the open side here. Danny Maguire goes to the heavens at Suncorp, attacking the northern end of the ground. Big bomb, bouncing ball, chance for Calderwood. It's a sitter. Does he get it across the line? He squeezes it out the back door. Back to Senior. Steal the last. Now some tunnel ball. And it's been shut down. Amazing football. Incredible passage of play. And it was Bronson Harrison who came away with the scraps.
Great kick. It was as high as the top of the grandstands. No one could take it. You watch it bounce. It'll bounce 15 foot in there. Look at that. And here, a last-ditch tackle. Mannering. Senior looked like he'd get there. Ohio comes in and then whack. They cough the ball up. Great Britain have done their homework. They're attacking Benji Marshall down the right-hand channel. Left-hand defensive edge for New Zealand.
Well, they got out of the blocks, of course, very quick smart last week, and the Kiwis have had a gutful of this after just 7 minutes, looking for the 40-20, but the kick, of course, is nowhere near the sideline. A little bit of a mix-up involving fullback and winger. That's Wellens and Gardner. Gardner now across the ground. Oh, they jam him big time. Get that into you nice and early.
80 Gardner, he was waiting for that. The kick from Fiend was a rip-up. Send England back after a nice attacking raid and sucked a little bit of energy out of them. Now inviting them into the arm wrestle.
Gleeson, the experienced campaigner, he's come up with a mistake. He says it was stripped. There was a helping hand. Again, Shane Hayne says nothing. Gleeson's looking around like a headless chook. He wants some help from the touch judge, Ropo. I'm not sure if you had a better look at that than us.
No, I guess the only one that's got it is the guy in the middle, and that's Shane Hayne. You've got a Kiwi performance at the moment where you're seeing a lot of ball movement, but the difference, and you've already touched on it, DJ, Roby, so important that you're able to change the point of attack by being able to shift across the face of the ruck, dropping players in on the inside, electing to go outside when it's on, unlike Thomas Lulawai just playing direct and seeing what's in front of him.
Oh, look at this coming in off the wing. Vatuve, look at him of all people. What's he doing in there? On a roving commission on tackle 1. He plays it back for Hohire. Lance goes to ground, one of 5 Warriors, as I said, at the top of the call in the back line for New Zealand tonight. Lulawai picks up the pill, he hands it on. This is Blair, part of the Storm connection in the Kiwi lineup. They are only about 6 metres away. Fiend, ball goes to ground. Marshall's got the scraps. Marshall hits the go button, and here's the first try of the semi-final. Sam Perrott will bring it around. They're claiming obstruction, the Pommies. but Shane Hayne doesn't want a bar of that. Numbers in the frame. The Kiwis will play from in front. Perrott gets the try. 9 gone. It's 4-0.
I want you to have a look at the work of Benji Marshall here. It's quite brilliant. He sets up to go around the back. They get a touch on it. Now his second play here, where he attacks the line. He tried to get Mannering to drop off on the inside, and there was an option there. But just pushing his hands through the gap. Perrott stays right out wide, lets them do all the work. You watch this, Feen will pass the ball. It'll get a tip on it. It goes to ground. That puts England on their heels. Now the pickup and the speed of Benji Marshall straight across field. Mannering drops off. That attracts in a defender. Perrott right out wide. Flat pass to finish. Easy.
Well, I think that's what they were chipping the referee about. First instincts, Chook, was obstruction, but in fact, I think that what they were trying to tell the referee, or at least the touch judge, was they were claiming the pass was forward to Perrott. The touchy was in pretty good position to make the call. He said nothing. It's fish and chip paper now. It's 4 block.
4 block. And from the scrum, we saw big Manu Vatuvai hit it one up on the right. He plays on the left, and you asked what was he doing there. Well, it's an intention of this Kiwi side to have Manu involved at every opportunity. He hadn't had a carry with the football. The game had gone 5 minutes, so he needed to get involved. It's smart play.
Jeremy Smith, the man who captained New Zealand in the warm-up match against Tonga a week before this World Cup got underway, has the goal-kicking duties, at least to get us underway tonight for the Kiwis. He's about 20 in from touch and about 12 or 13 out from goal. It's a slight angle. That's the assignment confronting Jeremy Smith. It's on its way, and he has piloted this one between the uprights. Up go the flags. 11 gone. It's the Kiwis. That's 6-0.
A couple of content coaches with the start that they've got, but how often do we see this when the ball goes to the ground, that for whatever reason it puts the defensive line on their back heels, and then out of that often comes a 4-pointer. But once again, as we saw last week, it's that edge defence of England. That is where they become a little unstuck. That's where the Kiwis will go all night if they're to find success. Look to the edge.
Thanks, Ropo. Back underway off the boot of the England lock forward, Rob Purdom. And a fumble at the back from Feen. Luckily, it went backwards. So a let off there for New Zealand after coming up with first points. Kalis plays it back. Here's the replay. It was a no-brainer for the match officials, but a near thing for Feen and the Kiwis. And back live now, and already making big inroads thanks to the try scorer in Perrott. Marshall now. 11.5 gone. Lulawai keeps it going with Fa'alongo looming up in support. 5 short of halfway. Blair and Smith put him away. Jamie Jones-Buchanan, beg your pardon, Gareth Ellis making the tackle. And now a kick charge down. The kick coming from Feen, knocked back from Senior. The pass looked to be misdirected. And just for a second, Calderwood had to extend the arms to make sure that they maintain possession. And look at this jack in the box, number 7. Burrow.
Great run. He's like an angry ant when he gets the football. Away goes Senior with another nice touch. The kicking game of Feen will come under scrutiny. They know who's doing the last play options, England. He will get pressure tonight. Sloppy play the ball here.
Well, it's an incorrect play the ball. And really, Gareth Ellis, man on screen, can't complain. He's just trying to get on with the job rather too quickly. He's off to the Tigers in the NRL next season. And the replay, well, it's a clear-cut call here for all and sundry. You can't be blaming Adam Blair, Ropo.
DJ, you talk Burrow being an angry ant. While one player's sideline, Adrian Morley, right from the start, he's been up and down, refusing to sit down. He's got a right arm that's strapped. And what scares me is it keeps flinching. Wait till he takes the field.
Yeah, well, he'll be hitting someone's head, I suspect. Adrian Morley, he does sail close to the wind. And if it's talking him up like a cage line, that will be rather interesting to see when he is introduced to the battle. New Zealand now with Hohaira up from fullback, keeping the ball going, and now Marshall has coughed it up, but geez, it looked promising, and coming in off the wing was a good stop from Adi Gardner.
Great movement. The execution and the ball handling at the end let it down. But a couple of tip-ons from the forwards, a wraparound out the back, then a long ball on the out for Marshall, getting outside his player. Gardner stops it. 3 parked out wide on the left. Good defence from Gardner, but creative play from New Zealand. Here, transferring the ball in his hands into a position to offload it and pass it, just drops it.
So England now in possession after almost 14 minutes. Just the 1 try thus far. Sam Perrott getting the scoring underway for the Kiwis. Now thundering upfield, the captain for England, Jamie Peacock. Jeremy Smith around the bootlaces, Feen upstairs. England with Burrow now, keeping it going out wide. Maguire looking to build some pressure out wide. The Lions. This is Graham, James Graham, looking to punch a hole through the other side, following up the good work of Ben Westwood. And now Roby out of dummy half. Smith comes again, but it was illegal. There's a couple of Kiwis offside. He's just counting them. Shane Hayne, take your pick, says the man in pink.
I was just about to mention what England needed to do with the last option play was to put it in goal and get a repeat sex. They've gone for the quick one.
2-1 is the penalty count favouring England. They want 4, maybe 6, forget the 2. This is Peacock. Put away, Kalis over the top, downstairs again with Smith. They're only 5 metres away, so battle stations here for the Kiwis. Burrow to Maguire, the halves combining. Wellens, Gleeson, try to Gardner. Gardner plants the ball out wide. Great backline play from the Poms. And I reckon Gardner might have got it down. He's squeezed it in out wide. He thinks he's got it down. He looks confident. It should soon be 6-4, subject to confirmation.
Again, the wraparound out wide. It's difficult to defend. Did New Zealand eat up enough yards and get off their line far enough up to put enough pressure on England? Here's the finish. Manu trying to attract 2 players. A boot just on the chalk.
Well, is it?
We'll see this disallowed.
Well, is it? This is the angle we're looking for. Is there enough evidence here for the video referee Phil Cooley to deny it?
We'll have a look at the front-on shot again if we get it there. We've got a touch of the paint there for sure before the ball's grounded.
That's the angle we wanted. That's the angle that will convince the man upstairs. Phil Cooley, no way he can give a green light for this after what we've just seen.
Did well. Abe Gardner just putting his toe on the chalk. The tension of Manu somewhere around the shoulders, pulling you to the outside.
Well, he would have been oblivious to where the heel or the foot was. So you can't blame him for looking pretty confident, maybe cocky. He wasn't named to start tonight, was he, Chook? When you look at the side, Smith was the man named on the wing tonight, the Sunderland medal winner from the Super League Grand Final. So Gardner, not sure when he would have found out during the week, but surely this will be no try from what we've seen. There we go, red light. Phil Cooley, the man upstairs, concurs with what we think. So it remains 6-0. A let-off for the Kiwis. And what are we having here? A scrum, a 10-metre scrum. Jamie Peacock not impressed with the call. Nathan Feen with the put in for New Zealand. And Jerome Roparty on tackle 1, captured by Westwood. And now Harrison made his test debut against the French in 2005. Then had a 3-year wait before getting recalled last week in Newcastle. And as we said a moment ago, player's player, it was some comeback for the national side. They keep it going. This is Blair, 11 short of halfway. Getting some quick play of the balls, aren't they? Kalis now following up for New Zealand, just short of the midway stripe. Centre of the ground, they've made 39 metres according to our stats here on this set thus far. And now a clearing kick, a low trajectory too, I might add, off the boot of Feen between fullback and winger. And it's a terrific kick, a judicious kick. Calderwood has got work to do. He's got to hurry. They'll look to lift him up and jam him, but not this time.
Fine placement of the ball from Feen. Not a lot of pressure from the English. The senior comes off his left centre to run right across under the post to try and shift the point of attack for England. Gardner's next. He wants to get involved. Dropped the ball early. Had a try disallowed. A simple scoot will get him back on his game.
England now getting play up to the 30. Graham plays it back. Roby, such a creative player out of dummy half, playing direct. We hear about that so often in the modern game, don't we? You need the ball carriers to back it up, though. Now the kick off the pint-sized Rob Burrow. Big kick for a little man. It'll go dead in goal. Too much mustard on that. And they'll come back to the 20.
And sometimes that play, or the outcome of that play, is perhaps not as bad as first thought. It allows you to set your defensive line, get some composure, get some shape to it. Not recognizing that Kiwis off a great kick there by Nathan Feen, gave them the territory, put him down the other end. So to be able to sort of control the tempo of the game, well played.
Simon Mannering, he knows about playing well. Tony Smith, the man on right of screen. Steve McNamara, Bradford Ball's favourite, coaching assistant to the Australian born and bred Tony Smith. This is Perrott, who's making a real good fist of proceedings here tonight.
I want you to watch Perrott when he runs the football. Once he goes to ground, he gets up and walks a step forward to play it. It always creates momentum.
9 metres into enemy territory. Luluwai sending the ball across to Marshall, who's been flat and put on the backside. He's been taken out illegally. Shane Haynes says that's not on. He's called timeout. There's a little bit of argy-bargy. Let's listen into this.
Walk away. Just walk away. Keep going, guys. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going, boys. Just stay here. Just stay here. Stay here. Yeah, but it was well. There's no drama. There was no drama with you, like being illegal, but it was late. Okay, you have plenty of time to pull out.
Don't you love it? It was only the shoulder. Benji Marshall. Well, he didn't miss. I will say in defence of Westwood, however, these things need to be viewed in real time, not slowed down. The point of contact wasn't great, but we need it in real time.
Westwood, more like the Wild West.
It's just the shoulder.
All right, Kiwis getting on with the job. Marshall looks nonplussed about the whole episode. And Nathan Feen awaiting delivery of the football. Pretty important facet of the game, of course. Finally, we're back underway. This is Blair. 2-2 is the penalty count. Tackle 1. They're only 6 metres away. Now, some creativity from Luluwai and a try to Hohire. Thomas Luluwai, much maligned, the number 9. He's the architect here. Hohire has got it across the stripe, and the Kiwis get their second try of the semi-final. They hit double figures at 10-0.
Don't you love it when a set play comes off? The dummy run from Feen across, they're looking for an obstruction. Were they taken out? Probably Farlongo is the person in question, but he does well, Luluwai. Sells it. Farlongo didn't take anyone out, didn't impede anyone. It should be clear cut. And then the little guy with the good feet just ducking around the back. Did Farlongo impede anyone?
Oh, please, if they deny this, we should have a Royal Commission into rugby league.
That comes from our fucking timing.
I know I've been calling for a few. I think even the most ardent Lions supporters are resigned to seeing 4 points added to the tally. There we go. So that is no surprise. 10-0, kick to come. Benny not sporting a smile. That's nothing new. But the Kiwis, this is so far so good for them.
Well, the only downside for this one, if New Zealand go on and win this match, they can't use this next week because Australia know it's coming. A brilliant play. They had the ruck going both sides. First to the right, then come back to the left, and then a nice little jink. Had a little bit of work to do too higher, 2 people in front of him. However, they weren't advancing themselves off the line, and he was good enough to go over.
And that try to Hohire, the Waikato product, Warriors utility, who had a marvellous season when you look back on the NRL campaign of 08 and the absence of McKinnon and how he filled that void for so many weeks.
In the previous year, he filled the centre position for virtually the whole year as well when the Warriors were down on centres, such as his versatility.
And that try coming on the back of the penalty. Westwood, the offender, taking out Marshall. Jeremy Smith now looking to make it a neat dozen. And it's a shocker. No goal for the lock forward. He won't take a refreshment after that, but the Kiwis looking good at 10-0.
Well, they're looking better than good. They're certainly starting to dominate all facets of the game, and one in particular is about territory and possession. Again, another good example of the little adjustments that England need to make in their game, particularly the defensive game. You had one in Gleeson pushing up Peacock while he was content to sit on his heels, and that's what you get. You pay the price.
Purdom with yet another restart, and he's overcooked it. Horribly overcooked it. The farmer from Cumbria just squeezing too much out of that one off the tee. They've got a gift penalty here from the halfway line, the Kiwis. A real big leg up in this one.
Tony Smith in the boat, in the box, is just sitting calmly. He's a couple down. But England, they believe they had a performance in them to get to a World Cup final. This wasn't in the script.
Wasn't even close. Touch judge getting a little bit carried away. Could have started at Brisbane International Airport if he keeps that up. 3-2 is the penalty count favouring the men in black. This is Smith on tackle one, 27 metres away. Attacking the southern end of the ground, the Milton Road end, and Lulawai really having a real hot go tonight in the number 9 jumper. Excellent completion rate too for the Kiwis. Mannering in the centres tonight, covering for the injured Matai, and now England camped on their own goal line. Pressure on the lines, Kiwis looking to put the foot to the floor. Blair will rise to play the football now. Fiend's got it. He promotes it for Ohio. Cut out ball. Here's a try to Ropati. He squeezes over. Danny Maguire can't stop him. And it's all New Zealand in this World Cup semi-final.
I don't know what they're checking. If you thought the last try was good, this one is better. Everything in motion. From a tap penalty, they shifted it to the right, just far enough to bring it back to the left. The wrap around. Now Lance had many an option here where he gets a football. Does he put it on the toe? No. His warrior teammate in Ropati runs a straight hole. Lovely. If they're looking for obstruction, where would it be?
Well, looking for obstruction, you're like looking for some beer money in your wallet, Chook. I don't think they'll find any.
Well, it was so far away. The ball had really moved. I think it was Peacock. He wouldn't have got there anyway. I pay this on pure football ability. The ball going across, the options open, chose the right one, a straight runner. There, bang. Great to see. Gardner was left posted. He had Manu out wide.
Look, I know the rules are the rules, but there's got to be some common sense in the application and interpretation of the rules. And this is probably a classic example. For goodness gracious, where are we going in rugby league? We'll go to Peter shortly to see if there's any movement at the station on the bench. Here we go. Phil Cooley likes what he sees. He won't deny it. And New Zealand get their third try of the night. Ropati hitting the hole at pace, getting the 4 points. It is 14-0. And England all at sea in this one.
It has been all New Zealand for the last 10 minutes. The kickoff out on the full, handing them the ball back. And New Zealand, 2 set moves, the last 2 tries. One a close one round the ruck, and then a full set of 6, delivering attack to the right, then fully stretching England to the left. It's great football. They've saved the best football of this World Cup, this Kiwi side, for the first half of the semi.
I don't want to write off the English, but they limped into the finals, remember. An unimpressive first-up win against PNG, then got crushed by the Aussies and beaten last week. This kick's much better from Smith. Up go the flags this time. He's pumped up. Why wouldn't he be? 16-0 after 23.
And there's a real sense about this English performance so far, which is not too dissimilar to what we saw up against the Kangaroos. They had absolutely no idea defensively where to stand, where to shift. On that occasion, they got themselves again in all sorts of bother. Look where the likes of Maguire is. He left out wide. Jerome Ropati finding the 4-pointer. They've just cleared the bench as well. All but Leon Price are on.
All right, it's now or never maybe for Tony Smith. Don't forget the latest Rugby League World Cup news. RLWC08.com. That's the place to go in cyberspace. At the moment, England is in cyberspace on the scoreboard. More of that is required.
Good hit. Eastwood on. Talking about the bench, the changes have come thick and fast. Luke gets his chance. What a great time to bring him on when you're on the front foot.
Different story to last week when they had to come from behind. They had to work tirelessly to overhaul the big lead that England had. 24-8 at one stage it was, and now fifth and final, and the Kiwis already up to halfway. Luke plays it back. Now the clearing kick off the boot of Fiend, and it's been taken on the full by Gardner. He looks to wind up, but the chase is good. Oh, they lift him up. You can't do that. The referee, he says you can.
Well, they put him down gently. It was their only reprieve. And I think the spark's on, coming from Luke for the Kiwis. You watch Morley's first hit up. He'll get one soon, and they should be coming out of the rafters for him.
Well, he went beyond the horizontal. I'm sure he did. Morley now. He'd be livid after getting that call, or no call from the referee, or this might appease him. He gets some love now from Shane Hayne.
Nathan Kalis just admitting I was round the neck area, and he was outlawed in the game.
So England now, 3-3 is the penalty count. Now the heavy lifting being done by Peacock, as per usual. And Burrow has lost the football, and Marshall's got the scraps. Now it's a foot race. Benji boy still going, weaving and dancing. They can't shut him down. They'll need a sniper to stop him. Roper. Ohio. And he is engulfed. Good smothering tackle it was. Courtesy of the English back rower in Ellis. And England are backpedaling big time. On their own goal line, Kalis not happy with the contact. Luke goes straight up the middle. Now they lift him up and buckle him over. Ellis in the thick of it for the Lions. They come the right side with Blair. Eastwood looking to barge over. He attracts three, make that four defenders. Now the last has been signalled. Still battle stations for the Lions. Luke, Fiend, crossfield kick, looking for the beast. Vartuve can't get the football. Was he taken out? No way, says the referee.
He was taken out all right. What is the touchy doing over there?
Well, is it Stevie Wonder or one of the blokes we've got listed in the program?
It was a gutsy set of six. This is the end of it. If Gleeson hasn't taken Manu out, well, I'm not sitting here.
I reckon A.D. Gardner couldn't believe it.
And they have been strict in the World Cup on players taken out competing for the football. What are they doing? Pink shirts and all.
Stay there, Benji. Ball in, Rob. Out.
Well, after that episode, I reckon Stephen Kearney could be seeing red, not pink. 27 gone in the contest. Do or die semi-final. The starter's getting a spell. And this will help England's cause.
10 metres, boys.
Jumping the gun, the likes of Simon Mannering, they've been now called upon to retreat. Burrow wants to quickly get on with the job.
This is a disappointing thing in the game. When you get a ruling like that and then a penalty, and you don't deserve to be down in your own half 30 off defending. But anyway, good luck to England. They got the rub of the green.
Peacock will be relishing this, if not the scoreboard. England with an opportunity to come back in the contest. Kalis getting a spell, hence the arrival of Rapira, and Maguire showing some silky skills to control the football. And now Blair banging down the ball carrier, showing no mercy on the receiving end. It was Wilkin. Senior now takes a buff at him too. He's swapped around Senior, the old stager, and what could be his international swan song. England now stack the short side. Gardner cuts back in field. Now some tunnel ball. Not the first time we've seen that tonight. And Wellens, he's dropped a lolly. Don't give him the candy jar. Kiwis have got the football.
Good play, however. Shift Senior round is one of their attacking weapons. As Isaac Luke throws Manu the ball and he coughs it.
Well, the disease is catching. 0 on the tackle count, so they've got some ammunition and some field position here, England. Is this their moment to crack them? And look out, Mickey Hyam, who scored a sneaky try last week, is on the park. Burrow. Wellens, this time he controls the football. He steadies the ship and he's dealt with by Harrison. Just confirming the change, Morley for Graham. Now they come the short side. And England keep the ball alive, courtesy of Ellis, and now looking for the barge over. I think it's Peacock, it's the captain, and it takes that captain's knock to get England on the score sheet. There is life in the Lions at 16-4, and the Barmy Army finally comes to life.
You got to get past the fact that they shouldn't have been down here. They get a good flop back right here. And then the shift from Burrow was great to his captain and Peacock. The money ball from Burrow. He's handy all right. He knew he couldn't go himself. Last week he might have had a little duck and a dart, been that close to the line, but he knew there was a big guy coming. Shifting Senior from the left to the right, then bringing them back to the left, moving players around England. They defended extremely well down that other end of the field, and they come back and make a crucial hit back.
Test match number 35 for Jamie Peacock. From the Leeds Rhinos, made his World Cup debut against the Russians. Yes, they were there in 2000. That was at Knowsley Road. He's only missed a handful of test matches since then. The shot at goal is terrible from Purdom. He'd like to have that all over again. It remains 16-4 after 31.
He's been a wonderful captain for England or Great Britain, as Jamie Peacock. You talk about test matches. Well, he's only missed 2 of the last 32. Here's a guy that was voted in 2003 Man of Steel, and in 2006 this guy undeniably was the best forward in the game of rugby league. So a pretty big rap, and he plays accordingly.
Almost relief. Back underway here. Senior with a good look at the football. He makes no mistake. He steers clear of the sideline on this western side of the ground before taking the tackle. Tackle 1 just beyond the 20. 2 converted tries in this one. An interesting stage of the contest inside the final 10 minutes of the opening stanza. Remembering there is no tomorrow. The winner through to the World Cup final. 7 days from now, this venue, Suncorp, to host that next Saturday night. Australia, unbackable favourites to go through tomorrow at the expense of Fiji. And England looking to claw their way back into this one. That pass was atrocious out of dummy half, and luckily for the Lions, it's play on. Burrow will play it back, and it's 6 to go, just to compound things for the Kiwis.
He says Eastwood played at it from the marker position. Did he? Oh, possibly he did. Got a little pinky on it.
There's a lot of pink out there. England now looking to shift the football. Wellens back on the inside. Wilkin keeping the football alive. Much better from the Lions. Early in the tackle count, looking to apply some more pressure here. Burrow back on the inside. Morley, the 31-year-old from the Warrington Wolves. He plays it back. England hard and straight, playing direct. Danger signs now for Kearney's Kiwis. On their own goal line, New Zealand. Graham, good ball it was to Wellens, but he's coughed it up. The defensive line stands tall. They forced the mistake, and the Kiwis have got the pill, courtesy of Smith.
Important part of the game as we see Perrott take a dummy half while these pictures are on your screen where Smith tidies up. But it's an important part for Manu Vatuvai to get involved in the game. Dropped the ball 5 minutes ago, hasn't seen it since. He needs to get his numbers up, get some confidence.
And I quickly chuck something in as well, gentlemen. There's just a sense of last week, but in reversed order. England starting to enjoy a little bit more territory, a little bit more possession. And I keep looking to the left, and I still see Leon Price sitting there. So what are we going to get? And what's going through Coach Tony Smith's head right now? Here's a playmaker. Here's this jewel in the crown. When will he bring him into the game, and what will he offer?
Well, he hasn't offered a great deal from what we've seen thus far, although we've still got a half and a bit to go for England. And this kick is turning the Lions around. Calderwood finally gets his hands on the steed, and he brings it back to the 20 where he is dealt with by Perrott.
Give a rap to the kicking game of Fiend. His long kicking game has been good. 3 or 4 good long strikes of the football, positions himself on the right and turning them round.
And there we see the man that Ropo was just referring to, Leon Price. West Yorkshire junior. Great talent, can play wing, centre, 5'8", fullback. Is he the money man for the Lions? We will soon find out. England now making some inroads. This is Rob Purdom from Whitehaven. He plays it back. Captain of the London Harlequins nowadays. They work the short side. Oh, it was well read. Lance Hohire, we talk about his versatility To talk about his courage, also talk about his capacity to snuff it out just like that. Here comes Vartuve.
That's what he needed, a good solid run. And if they thought there was more of that coming, you're dead right. Rapira is there, and Sika Manu has just got his boarding pass, so his first taste of pom for this World Cup.
Bit of pom, hey? You'd like to cook a couple of poms. There we go. Sika Manu in 11. Finally coming on, remembering he suffered that terrible injury at the start of the tournament. Now Fiend goes for the midfield bomb. Gardner has eyes only for the football. Was he taken out? No, says the referee. At least he's consistent. He did get checked, but there was nothing in it, according to Shane Hay.
The height of the kick put everyone at sea. Once again, we saw the ball bounce in the first couple of minutes. The fan, the technology to call the players down on the sideline.
Well, I reckon the fan might be dirty at half-time in the England sheds.
All heads in, locks in, lock it in, heads down, ball in. Out.
Scrum forming, England expecting to get the ball. They receive the ball, and there is work to be done. Wellens of all peoples will realise that as we move into the final 5 minutes of the first half. So Oranges not too far away as Morley takes them on, running at the teeth of the Kiwi defence. Graham offloading in traffic. Wellens keeps it going. Maguire, Wilkin. This looks promising. This looks encouraging. Ellis offloading in traffic. High-risk play. It was really not on. And now we've got a push and shove, maybe a punch in back play. But it was building rather nicely there for the Lions.
Jeremy Smith gets this tackle just right, and he needed to. First thought possibly it might have been before he'd actually received the football if we get a replay from the 9 pitches. But they were attacking Benji Marshall's side again, and they're doing some damage down there. Gleeson is better off in the centres. He's a runner. Morley's made an impact. It was his charge on the left that got the ruck going to start with. They will throw everything at you, this English side. In New Zealand, they're just hanging on through the weight of possession with the English.
Denny, stay there, Denny. Don't move back until it's out.
Denny Maguire being told in no uncertain terms by the ref to stay back, let the ball clear the scrum. Row Party there just for a moment, had a nervous moment in controlling the football. This is Sika Manu. He's relieved Bronson Harrison, and now we've got a fumble. So it just leaves the door ajar, doesn't it, for England in the run-up to half-time. Boy, oh boy, they won't be rushing to pack the scrum, the Kiwis, but you can't say that for England. That was a real fluff, wasn't it?
It's been sloppy. The previous pass to Jerome Ropati was a low one. He only just got it, managed to grasp it, and then get to his feet and play it. And then the very next play the ball, we get a poor play the ball. Basics.
I'll tell you what, if they leave these doors ajar, the British Bulldog spirit will possibly knock the door off the hinges, and this man can do exactly that. This is Keith Senior.
Well, particularly Costo if they score one just before half-time. 3 to go.
Well, that would really make it interesting. England now on the attack. Morley will play it back here. Graham passing before the line. Maguire, Wellens, Gleeson keeps it going, and Gardner on the end of that play has nowhere to go. Ropati stuck to his task. England now, they knock on, maybe a little fatigue, but John Wilkin should have done a lot better than that. And I reckon Tony Smith, who's a couple of doors up from us here on this western side of the ground, he goes to the walkie-talkie, he'd be blowing up Deluxe.
Wilkin is the culprit, and how many times have they dropped the ball inside New Zealand's 20? Unforgivable, really. There he is on the walkie-talkie. I'm surprised he's staying nice and calm.
Ball heads in, ball in.
They've given up some opportunities, the English.
Well, I reckon at half-time we'll be erupting like Krakatoa, and Vesuvius rolled into one. 2 to go before the split, and for Tony Smith and England, it can't come soon enough. But a 12-point cushion for Kearney and the Kiwis. Those errors have been England's Achilles heel in this opening stanza. The stats do not lie. Smith will play it back here, and Isaac Luke will serve it up for his Rabbitohs teammate, and David Fa'alongo. Wilkin downstairs to stop him in his tracks. Fiend's got it at second receiver. Marshall now. And there was an ordinary pass for Mannering. It was on a hiding to nothing. And England, look at them. They come from far and wide to pack the scrum here.
This is disappointing. Benji Marshall, set play out round the back. Fires a pass to Mannering. Hits him right round the ankles. 1 minute to go. There it is. Positioning of the hands, not that good. The hands drop as he's passed it. If you're passing the football, keep your hands pointing in the direction where you're passing the football. Did you see how low they were?
Certainly not out of the textbook. Now a shock tactic. Maguire leads the chase. Will he get the bounce? You betcha! Brilliant! Just brilliant from the Lions. They are back in this one. This semi-final is alive and kicking. The Barmy Army, they'll be lapping this up, subject to a green light from high above. Maguire claiming 4 points to narrow the deficit.
Offside, the only problem.
No problem.
And he's on. Can you believe it? They didn't have it covered. Quite inexplicable, really. 1 minute to go. You've got to know that's coming. They didn't drop anyone back. That's fair enough. They deserve this, England. They've had many opportunities. Their ball control hasn't been good, but they have shifted the football round. I can't see them not giving that.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they don't give it, the Barmy Army will be invading this old graveyard. This is a green light. I'm not sure what Phil Cooley is doing here. There's no problem with the grounding. There was no problem, obviously, with the would-be offside. And this lot can't see what the fuss is all about.
And you reckon Tony Smith was nice and calm and collected with all the errors before he hopped on the walkie-talkie? Well, I reckon Messrs. Kearney and Bennett will be going off in the shed at these Kiwis. They went to sleep.
Well, they've clocked off big time. They have clocked off early and paid a big price. How big a price, we'll find out at full time, because England is in this game up to their eyeballs. Half-time is almost upon us. It is 16-8 with a straightforward kick coming up for the Lions. Maguire getting the try. Beautifully executed, it must be said.
Change of goal kicker. Little Rob Burrow. Left footer. Purdon off the field.
So Rob Burrow, the 26-year-old who calls Headingley home. Slight angle. Will back himself here, and he makes no mistake. 16-10, look out, here come the Lions. Half-time siren about to sound.
And the only question mark you throw out there, you talk about clocking off, but our fullback, where was the Kiwi fullback? Smart move. We've seen it over the years from England, not afraid to chance where they've got speed. You go back to the Martineau Fires, how often did they do it?
Martineau Fire, Henderson Gill, Des Drummond. We could go on and on. We've got a contest, folks, on our hands. That's what we do know. It was 16-0 to the Kiwis at one stage, but back-to-back tries has this game poised on an even keel. 16-10 at the split in the semi-final of the World Cup of 08. Kiwis leading England. Stay with us. More from the cauldron that is Suncorp Stadium right after this.
Half-time at Suncorp at 16-10, a final try to the English, and what a first half we've seen. All sorts of chances gone begging. England could have really started their game like they did last week at Newcastle beat, but they were just very unlucky. Then the Kiwi defensive and attacking effort comes up, and they get a little bit of luck, and Benji Marshall comes to play.
Well, when you get a little bit of luck, often when you see a ball goes to ground, you get the right result. But again, as we saw last week, England being exposed on the edges. This was try number one. That came courtesy of Perrott, and Gardner came oh so close here, just finding a foot going on the whitewash.
Right foot going to touch lines and no try. And then a nice little set play here. Obstruction was, well, they went upstairs to think obstruction, but again, one of two set plays that led to tries.
Well, you also got a defensive line that was a little sort of unsure. You had one player that was jamming up, another, and Danny Peacock just sitting on back on his heels. the Kiwis found the result. But then they found some changes in their personnel. They cleared the bench all bar Leon Price. You had Morley into the game. You had Wilkins come into the game, and they got the result. This one here changes the face of the game. How difficult is the next 40 minutes going to be when you've got a Bulldog spirit now that's just shown they do have a bite?
Yeah, well, it has shades of last week, doesn't it? If you remember, Jason Nightingale scored just before the half in Newcastle. Kiwis went on with it and kept the English scoreless. I can't see New Zealand being kept scoreless, but the timing, the psychological timing, will work against them.
Well, and everyone out there's got to perhaps make their own opinion as to whether or not, when you look at 40 minutes of football, on one hand you've got the Kiwis playing with plenty of football, plenty of right territory. The England side, on the other hand, well, plenty of errors in their game. Who has got the improvement in the back half? Can England respond? They showed they've got enough in them. New Zealand, yes, they clocked off. They'll be getting an absolute rock up right now.
Good first spell by Thomas Luluwai, playing in the number 9 shirt. Everything he touched, and in fact, it was in the first 5 minutes, he'd at least run twice and really found some gaps in the English line.
Thomas has perhaps been sitting in the number 9 shirt, allowing him to grow in or build himself into the game, finding some confidence, and certainly finding the right way forward. His darts out of dummy half, his service out of dummy half have been spot on, but it's more about his ability just to get out of there, plenty of speed, get them on the front foot, then you find yourself getting some momentum on the back of them.
And come back to that theme you were looking at, talking about the changes. Adrian and Morley, you said pacing like a caged lion. His impact, certainly in the middle of the field and on defence, has really lifted this England team.
Well, he got him on the front foot. He started just playing simple and direct, but even varying his game. He was playing close off, then going too wide. And this one here was an example of being able to read what's in front of them. Here's a guy, the only English player in this side right now that's played in the NRL, in excess of 100 games, played in 3 grand finals, plenty of experience, plenty of bite in him, and the ability to shift the ball as well. When he sees what's in front of him, he sees the opportunity out wide, has the ability to shift it. A back rower who can play equally as competent in the front row.
And it's already come out in the papers this week. He'd like to play Test football as long as Steve Price and Petro Civoniceva. He's doing okay. One thing working against the England side, though, the errors, 10 for the error count. And if they don't clean this one up, that could pay for them maybe in the final 10 or 20.
They're not good enough to beat a Kiwi side, let alone an Australian side, as long as they continue with this in their game. You just can ill afford. You don't have the ability, you don't have the talent, I think, to come up with an error game and then still find good success on the back of it. But they've shown plenty. How good was his pickup? How good was Benji Marshall there, the recovery, to be able to find the ball and get down the other end? Welland, he's been in indifferent form. Very good in the Super League, very good with St Helens, but his performances we've seen so far have been indifferent. A player that's perhaps carrying something at times, looking very hesitant. But you can't go the break without even recognising in the first 40 minutes, Nathan Feen, how good's a kicking game?
Kicking game from Nathan Feen, outstanding here this evening at Suncorp Stadium, and certainly playing a big part in the Kiwis go forward. 16-10, do you want to call it now?
No, I think it's still got to back the Kiwis. They just need to get back in the game, but they've just made it a lot tough in the second 40.
There is a lot to like about what you're seeing at Suncorp Stadium. There are the numbers. Stick around. More great football coming on after the break.
Welcome back to Brisbane Suncorp Stadium, where Tony Smith, well, his fans might be a little bit cleaner after that try just before half-time. 16-10, the Kiwis lead this first semi-final in the Rugby League World Cup of 2008. Don't forget the second semi, 24 hours from now, it's Aussies up against Fiji, and Chook caught up with the likes of Jared Hayne, who, of course, played against the side last year, the Aussies, that is.
But, in saying that, I'm just glad, I said it at the start, I'm just glad I could be a part of the World Cup, and to represent Fiji, it's such a massive honour, and it's the same feeling that you get for playing Australia, playing for Fiji, and the biggest game, of probably my life, because of how much it means to the Fijians and that, and sort of how much not so much pressure, but the excitement it has for the boys that I'm playing with, it's just going to be mind blowing, I can't wait.
The dynamics of this team, especially the forward pack, has it changed from when you first got together until now, building into the semi?
No, it hasn't changed at all. We had a game plan from the start against France, and I think we're just going to stick with it. It's, we've won 2 out of 3 games with a close one against Scotland, close loss against Scotland, and our forward pack mentality hasn't changed, and I don't think it will.
But Fiji going with what sort of expectation?
Mate, we respect the Australians. We know what they're capable of. They've been number 1 for a long time now, and we know it's going to be a tough game, but we're going to go in there and give our best, and that's all we can really ask.
Well, they're talking about it big time. Don't forget, Sky Sport 1 tomorrow, 9:50, Kangaroos and Fiji. Let's go to Ropo. He's with David Kidwell.
David, you've got the good start, but it was probably the back end of that first 40 that concerns the coaching staff.
Yeah, look, we just took the foot off the pedal. We started trying to find the easy way up the field and try and go around them instead of just sticking to what was working, going through the middle, getting to our kick. So we've got to get back to it in the second half.
And obviously confident that if you go back to that, that'll get you the result you want.
Well, it worked in the first 20-30 minutes of the game, so we've got to go back to that and get us right back in the game. We're just giving the English a bit of a sniff, and they've got 2 quick tries at the end there.
Okay, buddy. Cheers, mate.
Yes, and our thanks to David Kidwell. Of course, our pictures courtesy of the 9 Network. 30 seconds gone, second stanza. The winner to go through to the big dance next Saturday of the World Cup final. This is Purdom now bumping off a couple of would-be tacklers before he's rounded up by Eastwood, 5 short of halfway. England with this 6-point deficit after rallying in the back end of that first half. And really now, with some would say, a little bit of momentum going into this second stanza.
Plenty of momentum. The 15-minute break, England actually got together before they went up the tunnel and had a little word on the field before they went for the break to get the instructions from Coach Smith. So they know the job at hand, and they completed their first set like it was their best one of their first half.
Sam Rapira now is tackled by the English defence. A couple of metres, England side of halfway. Jeremy Smith now puts his hand up. If you joined us late, it was 16 blot at one stage. Benji Marshall, who's had a bit of a mixed bag tonight, puts up the kick, and just in the field of play. Good chase from Row Party. Led the charge. Wellens did terrifically well to catch the football, to avoid the sideline, and Gardner is upended big time.
Shot. Isaac Luke wanted to spark something. Comes in and picks the Englishman up. The kick, well, it was a dangerous one near the chalk as England worked this out up to the 25-30 metre mark.
And looking to milk the penalty, perhaps, Martin Gleeson. Referee Shane Hayne will have none of that. He has the arm extended here at Suncorp, and they'll kick within their 40. Just outside the 40. It's come off the back of Smith. He didn't play at the football, so it's still the last. They've got to hurry up here. The kick is terrible with a capital T. Oh, England, the wheels have fallen off here on this set. They're offside. That was as ugly as sin.
Messi. Burrow, the little left footer, getting out of dummy half, sending it straight into the back of Blair. And then Jerome Ropati ends up with it and gives the Kiwis a penalty.
New Zealand now with a wonderful opportunity to reassert themselves in the semi-final. England on their own goal line already. Rapira will play it back. Eastwood now has a crack himself. James Graham making the tackle with the help of Hyam. Right in front of the horns. Caxton straight into the ground. Kiwis on the attack. 2-3 metres away. Manu wrestled to ground by Ellis Senior, giving some assistance. Luke, what's he done there? He's coughed it up. Eastwood playing to the whistle. That'll be no try, and the referee will play the knock-on.
I've got to question the intention of Luke at dummy half. What was he trying to do? The ball seemingly slipping out of his fingers. Was he trying to double pump it? Possibly. Gets it wrong, whatever he was doing. In two minds, indecisive.
You talk about getting it wrong. The call coming out of the England change rooms at half-time was about getting rid of the errors, and unfortunately, the way they've started, it's no surprise that the coach, Tony Smith, well, he's had enough of you two upstairs. He's come down sideline.
Here's me thinking these boxes were soundproof. England now, 35 out from their own line. 4 gone, second stanza. No change to the half-time score. And now Graham passing before the line, showing some confidence there. But they overplay their hand. That's been ruled play on by Shane Hayne. I'm certain there was a knock-on somewhere, and Maguire will be allowed to play the football. Ellis backing himself into black jumpers. Rapira the last to clear. And now Graham again engaging the defence. 13 metres, New Zealand side of halfway. Maguire, Purdom, and now Gleeson. Can he put a move on? He takes on the defence. Vartuve is there, so too Row Party. And now maybe the crossfield kick is in the offing here on the last. Maguire will look to get it to pull up in the end goal. Kiwis played the ball via Perrott, and he does terrifically well. He negotiates the goalposts, plus the England defence to get back into the field of play.
Did so well. Was thinking he might have and let it bounce over the in-goal area. This is the versatility of this man, and also his efforts. That's the second carry, just the one ruck gone, and he's jumped in and done it again. Benji gets trapped. Is this a trump card? Smith talking to Price, his entry onto the field.
Price with a last-minute rev up here from coach Tony Smith. On the last, Marshall, he had to hurry. Morley put him under some pressure. It's gobbled up at the back by Wellens, and now he's a man on a mission. No chinks in the armour this time, though.
They got their dander up, the English. Manu Vatuvo played dummy half, would you believe, on that last play option. England are certainly on their game. New Zealand are struggling.
Calder would place it back. 10 short of halfway. This is Ellis from the jungle. That is the home of Castleford, the Tigers. Looks like he's picked up maybe a chest injury there in that tackle. He's gone down for the count. This is Burrow. Small man, big motor. That's Ellis, who's in all sorts of strife after taking the hit. England now. Swing it wide. Wellens across to Gardner. Come back here as a forward pass. Gardner goes all the way, or so he thinks. No way, says Shane Hayne.
He's right.
And for the second time tonight, Gardner gets no love.
Again, they come down the side of Benji Marshall. Price about to head on. Tony Smith, final instructions. Great play. They isolated the numbers. Committed Manu to go in and take Gleeson, but the tip on and the pressure that Manu provided just made Gleeson shift the ball forward. It's forward.
Oh, it's a fair call. Very good call. Touch judge who made the call, standing his ground. Referee relying on that information. This is Vatuve, who we haven't seen a lot of him, of course, in the match thus far. He scored 22 tries, I might add, in 21 top-level matches this year, 16 and 17 NRL games, as we see Ellis come from the ground. 4 tries in 3 tests. Remembering Big Manu, who bagged a double for the all goals as well. Here's a penalty for New Zealand. This will really put England under the pump. 7.5 gone in the second half, and Ellis heads up the tunnel. Kiwis now leading the penalty count 5-4 in that facet of the game. This is Sika Manu. And confirming the chains. Price is on for Ellis. Ellis forced from the ground. 10 metres away. Kalis, the captain, backing himself into the hefty frame of Morley. Graham involved as well for England. 10 metres out. Marshall goes across to Fa'alongo. And the Rabbitohs forward enforcer plays it back for Ohio. They're lined out with Marshall and Fiend at second receiver, crabbing across the ground. Now puts the kick in. Is there too much on this? Oh, it's touch and go. Perrott claims the try, but I think it's rather ambitious to say the least.
2 things to check. As you heard, the offside and the grounding. My first thoughts were the kick was too long. They were coming. It needed to bounce back, a bit of backspin. They get it to Fiend. He's their last play option. Gardner, that all come up. And right here, Mannering's probably got first chance at it. End on will be a better view.
Yeah, well, it's no try.
No try.
First impressions when you're calling football. More than 20 years I've been doing this. Club footy, state footy, international footy. First impressions often the best impressions. I thought it was no try. The end on replay confirms that. So it will remain 16-10 here. Early days, second stanza.
I'm a big fan of Isaac Lukes and have been for a long time. But I just think tonight, the work of Luluai at 9 early in the game saw New Zealand play its best football. At the time, Ohio had to go to dummy half. Luke wasn't there. There's the confirmation, no try. Be interesting to see the movement on the bench for this Kiwi side and their replacements in the second half.
England now under siege. Losing the grip on the football was Wilkin. And I'll tell you what, he needs to buy a lottery ticket tomorrow if they get out of jail here. It was a real anxious moment for him and the team. Maguire plays it back and they attack the short side and they look to profit from that, but they push the pass. In fact, now they get a penalty. They get bailed out by the referee. Offside is the call from Hayne.
He says the ball was touched by a Kiwi player before Benji picked it up. Did it go backwards? Did it go forwards? Right there. He got it right. Far long though. Puts his right mid out, touches it, and then it bounces up. As you see,
Gareth Ellis and getting the oxygen. This is not a good look for him, nor the England side. He's a real, I was going to say, Lionheart performer. That passer is suspect, to say the least, as we come back to the action here. Almost 50 gone. England now looking to build some pressure. Hyam will play it back in 16. They go to Graham. Not sure if he was expecting the pass. In the end, it eventually came courtesy of Burrow. They're 12 metres away. Maguire calling the tune. Goes out wide. And Wellens injecting himself from fullback. 5 metres away. They go the short side. Maguire, did he lose the football? Did he kick the football? Play on's the call. And they'll get 6 more. It was a kick. It works out okay for England.
Smart play. Guess who's soaking up all the pressure? New Zealand's defence. The interchanges are coming. Harrison looks like Farlongo. Nice little play on the left-hand edge. The kick in behind. It's possibly where Ellis injured himself. We see him in the tunnel. Twisted possibly through the ribs. Doesn't look like the collision's done it. More a twist. Maybe a rib cartilage.
No, I think you're spot on there, DJ. The way he was holding the ribs would suggest that it is a cartilage.
Well, we might have a few more rib ticklers coming up here. Here comes Graham, steaming onto it. Burley prop forward. And the man of steel will play it back here for Hyam. England looking to square the ledger. Less than half an hour to go in the contest. Do or die semi-final. Burrow, Price to nobody. He's rusty. He's come off cold, or come on cold. Gardner has to go back to collect the scraps. Wilkin out of dummy half. Goes to Gleeson. He attacks the short side. He beats a couple. He offloads. It's been battered back. 80 Gardner back to Wilkin. They keep it alive. Maguire's got it courtesy of Burrow. Now he crabs across the ground. Oh, look out, Keith Senior. He says, I want the football. I want to get England all the way to the World Cup final. He's 2 metres short. Anxious moments now for New Zealand. England with some razzle-dazzle. Now some sloppy football. The good, the bad and the ugly. England now with Hyam looking dangerous, but the Kiwis hold firm.
And everyone holds their breath when those balls hit the ground. It stacks on the mill, but you just don't know what's coming next. England, pretty much unconventional. They run it on the last. That was not the right option after what had gone on. The ball had been jostled back a couple of times. That was a stressful set of 6 for all Kiwis.
Kiwis with a lead of a converted try, chasing their 3rd successive win. They haven't done that since the World Cup of 2000 in the north of England, when of course Frank Endicott's side got blown off the park in the end at Old Trafford. Nathan Kalis, survivor of that World Cup decider from 8 years ago. And now some good contact involving Isaac Luther's pocket battleship. Marshall cut out ball, row party into the clear, and he's got support. They're queuing up. Marshall back on the inside, probably went the wrong way, and he gives it to one of the Poms. Can you believe it? Johnny Wilkin might have called the football. England have got the football and get out of jail.
Exciting. They run it on the last. Benji Marshall just trying to pick up a runner. He finds Ropati and then backs up on the inside. I was praying he'd go outside to Vatuvai, but he goes inside and right at the death. Well, the English have a crack at it.
Oh, they've made a meal of this play. The ball. You can't do that, says Shane Hayne. Maybe some relief here for Marshall and co. Changes are plenty. Coming back on the park as the captain for England, Peacock, but that was illegal. Wellens, you need to do a lot better than that. You can't do that. And rightly so, Marshall applauding
important set of 6 for New Zealand.
Well, this is a stage of the game where the game can be won and lost.
They need points.
Smith looking still relaxed. The errors keep mounting for England. Throw party goes to Brown. 34 out from the English goal line. Vartuve, the man who probably was expecting to get the ball before, now he has coughed it up. Kiwis have just got 3 changes left, if you're wondering. And Vartuve, not happy with himself, nor should he be. Bad ball security there, and Leon Price probably helping himself, taking a few liberties, Chook.
More the ball carry, Costo. I'd love to say there was hands in there, which there was, but you need to carry the ball more securely than that.
So the errors are ticking over for the Kiwis now. Wellens plays it back. Purdom, tough as nails from the north of England, Rugby League heartland. They love it up there in Cumbria. They may not participate in the Super League nowadays, but it's still a hotbed of 13-a-side football. Make no mistake, and Burrow now crossing halfway, keeping the Kiwis guessing. Graham linking up with Maguire. Fat ball, that's okay. And it's Purdom on the receiving end. Shane Hayne has the arm extended. And the Lions, let's see what they've got. They've got nothing. Absolutely nothing. I said to Brian Noble pre-match, they have limped into the finals of this tournament, and nothing tonight makes me change my tune.
Well, who wants it? That's the question. Absolutely simple. Sure, the pressure's there, and that comes with the occasion. But the execution of the hands from both sides is below the occasion.
More than 20 errors in a World Cup semi-final. And still a lot of clock left in this. This is Kalis, centre of the ground, 33 metres away. Lulawai picks it up out of dummy half. Thien has support. Oh, Harrison pulls through a hole. Great bit of footwork. And Bronson Harrison fires the ball into the sky here at Suncorp because he blows this game wide open. A 10-point buffer with a kick coming up. 20-10 is the score. Are the Kiwis on their way to the final?
Well, in a messy game, sometimes fatigue can play its part. A simple out ball and a straight line. They stacked the numbers out to the right and they were deep, and that made England second guess what was going on. So Nathan Thien just found his short man. The wingman and Harrison had a little bit to do when he got the football. A nice little jinx saw him go past the fullback and Wellens, but it was timely. We called that New Zealand needed some points 2 sets of 6 ago. Manu drops the ball and then the English give it back. New Zealand pounce. That might take a bit of English pride and a bit of energy out of this match.
First try for Bronson Harrison, wearing the colours of the national side. A moment that he will savour. As I said earlier, in the telecast tonight, 3 years in the international wilderness before his recall last week at Energy Australia. Jeremy Smith now with an opportunity to give the Kiwis a margin of 2 converted tries. And he has got it. Didn't look too convincing. I don't think, Chook, you've been coaching him this week, but it adds 2 to the score. It is 22-10 after 58.
And let's not forget, Bronson Harrison was a late inclusion into this World Cup squad, but hasn't he made every post an absolute winner? Plenty of enthusiasm on that occasion. Wonderful lines. If you enjoy anything about Bronson Harrison, look the lines that he runs. They're direct. He finds a gap. He finds a space. And he's got his 4-pointer. The England side, while their last play options, they've got to improve.
Have they what? Marshall with the catch. Here comes Blair. And now Vartuve trampling the English. Could be a sign of things to come as we come up towards the 1 hour mark. Don't forget, Sky Sport 1 exclusively live tomorrow night, 9:50. Kangaroos, 9-time winners of this World Cup. Here's Vartuve. Well, I'm not sure if there was any thought of self-preservation there. I doubt it on the part of the Poms.
The change in this New Zealand side, Costos, you're right. Tackling Manu's not an easy job, but Luluai back to 9. A couple of nice little plays around the ruck. He was at 9 when they scored that try then, and in that set of 6, he had a couple of nice little touches directing the play around the ruck. It made for a sensible set. They got to their kick.
8 changes now for Tony Smith. Still 3 left up the sleeves of the Kiwis. Yes, and just on that game tomorrow. SFS the venue, 9:50 as I say. Kangaroos unbackable favourites. The Fijians looking for an upset of biblical proportions. They reckon they've been having a church service twice a day. They need to change that to an hourly situation, I would have thought. Good luck to them, they'll need it. That's tomorrow, Sky Sport 1. Here in Brisbane, 22-10's the score. England, they get the kick away courtesy of Maguire, but O'Hire has lost the football. It should be play on. No comeback here. Barrow probably entitled to scoot away and score, but Shane Hayne has blown the pee out of the whistle somewhat prematurely. At least that's what the English are thinking right now. They're far from impressed.
Lance at the back. Maguire gives it plenty of air. Gets some attention from Rapati. Simple take. Grasses it. And if you're thinking New Zealand might have wrapped this one up with some 15 to go, don't go to bed. Stay up. It's going to go to the wire.
Can't believe that Hayne blew the whistle to stop the play so early. Here's Senior. Can't bust them. Mannering is there to stop him, and Harrison should be penalised. Senior can't believe it, and in this joint he's not alone. Shane Hayne might have called hell, but that was just ridiculous. Talk about overzealous, talk about over the top. England now with Barrow. That pass looked very dubious. Peacock will play it back. Kiwis now under the pump. Can they hold out? England desperate for points as we move into the final quarter of this first semi-final. A juggle from Barrow, now to Maguire. They keep it going. Price, and now to Gleeson. Can he reach out? Yes, he can! The Lions, they're coming back once more. This British Bulldog spirit, it just won't go away. 22 plays 14.
They played him at 5'8" last week, and this week he goes back to his preferred centre position. The work of Price around the back was instrumental. They were really deep. That's a Manea about to get the ball now. Price onto Gleeson. He's even deeper. He takes Rapati on. 1-on-1, 10 out, and he's just got enough momentum and spirit to get there. Good play, good setup, good execution. After all the ball they've dropped, they put a slick move on, and they draw the players. Good finish. 1-on-1 with your opponent, and you get the cash.
Gleeson, the try that has the hearts of all Kiwis ticking over a little bit faster. Don't go anywhere, folks. Barrow has got it. Great kick from this little number 7. And again, we're back to a 6-point ball game. 22-16 after 62.
England did well on this occasion because it was an ordinary pass coming out of the acting half, but Barrow was able to control it. And then you go to the depth of Leon Price, commanding too much attention, but that guy on screen there, Gleeson, plays for Warrington. He is class.
Another restart off the boot of Marshall. And again, this match, not for the first time tonight, rather delicately poised. 6-point spread. 17 and a half to go. England now looking to get down to that southern end of the ground, the Milton Road end of the ground. The Barmy Army, will they start to find their voice? Some 5,000 strong. They've made the trip down under. For many of them, a trip of a lifetime. This is Price. Just short of halfway. 5th and final. And again, a test for O'Hire off the boot of Maguire, and this time he fails does the test once more. He retrieves the football in the in goal and has got all sorts of work to do. They lift him up, they drive him back, they keep him going in reverse. They're going to put him on the Milton Road in a minute. No, it's a penalty. Now there's a punch up and they're coming in from far and wide and Suncorp has erupted. We've got fireworks at the Cauldron at long last.
Bizarre. Lance O'Hire threw the ball at the opponent after being given the penalty. Not too sure whether he was upset with the choker hold or whether he was just frustrated with a couple of his own touches in the last few minutes of the game. Big Manu's in there. Can't see any punches being thrown, so...
Well, little ones, just teeny little ones.
But do you think we'll get the kick to the air again to Lance?
Oh, well, that is a given.
Let's listen in here.
Maguire, I think it was, to force him on the chin. Just pushed him with the fist, forced him on the chin. Now, whether it was deliberate or not, I can't say. Okay. Definitely caught him on the face.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. I've already got a penalty. Yeah. Just listen, boys. Okay.
Yeah, as the melee finished, once O'Hire struck out with his arm, captured Dan Maguire on the face.
Okay. Thanks, James. We've already got a penalty. We've already got the penalty. But when something like that is, you just walk away. Right? You just walk away. All right? Away you go. Back it up. No, the penalty still stands because I've already blown the penalty for calling held. Then you on drag and no one stopped and went back in there. Okay? Let's cool our heads, boys. Keep playing footy.
Okay, this is it here. He throws the ball in there, so the ref has got it wrong. But I've got, in fact, he copped the worst end of it, Lance. He's lucky to get the penalty, but the referee and the touchie was in actually no position to see it. He was right out here on the right-hand side. And believe it or not, that was a touchie that in the first half ruled that Manu didn't get taken out contesting the football.
Well, I'll tell you what, O'Hire, I'm going to back Maguire to come up with a hat-trick. I think O'Hire is about to see more bombs than Coventry. 16 to go. 22-16 the score. And Morley, not for the first time in his stellar career, is fired up. Some fire and brimstone from Morley and the Lions engine room. Terrific passage of the game now. You can feel the tempo lifting here. The fans are starting to get a little bit carried away, pumped up. There's a little bit of a scuffle going on in one section of the crowd.
We're starting to get a little bit of old-school Test rugby league. When you bring England and the New Zealand sides together, this is what it's like. It just gets better.
Fiend looking to make it better for the Kiwis. The ball has been missed. Gardner with an air swing. They will trap him. They've got him pinned down. And they'll get 6 more, the Kiwis.
I was going to be critical of the kick from Fiend. I thought he should have gone to the air. It has worked out perfectly. Gardner tries to trap it with his foot, would you believe? And then the hit from Harrison in defence stopped him in goal. Brilliant. Gardner, he's had some good touches. That was one of his better ones.
Well, I can understand why he was called in for this game. Tony Smith's got a big rap on the St Helens Flyer, but the fact that Smith, the Sunderland medal winner, couldn't make the side was quite staggering. He was overlooked for this one, and looking for the big shot indeed was Peacock. I thought Fiend's head was about to roll down towards Milton Railway Station. This is Kalis, 20 metres away. England can ill afford to concede here. That pass was flat. The Barmy Army reckon it was forward. You'd expect that. Here's Marshall with some fancy footwork, stepping like a gazelle. Ball is flung out the back door, and Luluai has got it, and he will steady the ship. He goes to ground on the 10-metre line. Senior over the top, making sure of it with some help from Westwood. Fiend linking up with Kalis. One more pass was required, and the captain's blowing up on the last. They go to Fiend. Here's the kick into the in goal. Rowe Party can't get there. Who's it come off? We will check the tape.
My first thoughts would say Rapati touched the football. They had huge numbers out to the left. The kick was a ripper. He steps back to his right, then kicks it off his right foot. No problem with the onside. There's no grounding. And whose hand gets there? I don't think it's Gardner's. I believe it'll be Ropati's. Or I'll be wrong. There it is. It's Gardner's. Sack yourself.
I'd like to see that.
Well, there's nothing wrong with an each way bet, DJ.
Well, it worked for me on Cup Day. But getting back to this game, I think they've got 6 more coming up, the Kiwis. That's what I thought initially. That's exactly what we should get surely here. Phil Cooley is the man in charge, and he has ordered a goal line dropout. England were kidding themselves. They were lined up. The formation was there to get play underway on the 20, but they couldn't sell it to the man who counted the most.
Again, the kicking game of Fiend. This time, the short kicking game. Spot on.
Field goal could well come into calculations now. The clock is certainly starting to work against England. Oh, my goodness, Sam Rapira. George Bush, there's your weapon of mass destruction. Get out of my way, he says. And now Kalis with the follow-up.
Someone to spark it. Rapira's your man.
20 metres away. Slam and Sam. Not Sam Bacco, Sam Rapira. Fiend going across to Ohio, where he's engulfed by Senior. So the tackle was Westwood. And now Blair. Will they set themselves for the crucial one-pointer? Lulawai, Ohio, going across to Harrison, among the try scorers tonight. We've got to swing it back this left side. It's now the last, so I think they've gone the wrong way. They're going to go for pressure, if not points. Ball's gone loose. Do they clean it up? England, no! Ropati, he claims the try. He gets his double, and it sinks the Poms in the process. Well, so we would think. 26-16. Surely now they are through to the final. Big leg up. The Poms digging holes for themselves, all on the back of Slam and Sam Rapira. They come up with 4 points.
Perfect again, the kick. Up it goes. I thought the English might have tidied this up. Gardner, we questioned his touches a little bit ago. Goes straight through the legs. And Nathan Fiend, your little touches in the 7 position have been brilliant. Pressure for Marshall. Jerome just needs to put a paw on it. He does that. Weight of possession. We saw him knock one dead out the side to get a repeat set of 6. And finally, you can breathe a little easier at home.
Some words of wisdom from the great Ruben Wiki. And we've got a change in goal kicker here. Benji Marshall has been given the job. Wayne Bennett as cool as a cucumber with all his experience and success. Why not? Stephen Kearney in the hot seat at the front. The shot at goal, he's got it. Marshall raises the flags. And again, we've got a 12-point ball game. 10 to go. Kiwis at 28 points to 16. An anxious 10 minutes too for Stephen Kearney. Crowd tonight, 26,659. The restart from England has worked out well for the Lions. They've got the ball and there's still time. The Kiwis, they're entitled to do better than that. Maguire, Gleeson. England now. It's now or never. Go the left side. Gleeson running the ball with some venom. Blair makes the stop. Helped out by Fiend. On their own goal line, the Kiwis, when they least expected it. Maguire to the captain in Peacock. Ball has been lost. And Ohio has got the scraps. And they dodge a bullet, New Zealand.
They clocked off again, giving England the ball back from the kickoff as Manu will hunt one up. He holds on to it this time. But New Zealand, you wouldn't say they're finishing strongly. In a way, they're limping through this, winding the clock down already.
New Zealand seemingly with one hand at least on a berth in the World Cup final of 2008. Rugby League, only the second sport to embrace the World Cup concept After soccer or football, take your pick. Don't forget all the Rugby League World Cup news. That's the website. The kick goes dead in goal. RLWC08.com is the place to visit. There's the boy from Minurira. Eastwood on the bench with 9 to go. He rather relaxed himself with England 12 points in arrears. This is Morley looking to fix that.
With 9 minutes, still plenty of time for England, but they're going to do it tough. Ellis has figured it is rib cartilage, and more than likely he will not be back for the rest of this game.
England walking wounded. Down on the scoreboard, senior offloading. Burrow now to Calderwood. He cuts back in field. Doesn't go too far. Was he restrained? Well, he is now. Blair makes sure of it. Scoreboard is England's enemy. So too the timepiece. Price, I beg your pardon. He keeps it going. And now Gleeson to Gardner. Nowhere to go. Over the sideline. That's where he goes. And it's Ropati who shuts him down. And Tony Smith, I reckon that walkie-talkie is about to cook.
Good D from New Zealand. They push him towards the sideline. Gleeson, boy, he's a good ball runner. Got rid of Ropati, created a little bit of an opportunity out wide. Gardner sees no room, decides to come in, but just stops his momentum. And with that, they pounce on him and push him over the sideline.
I'll give you the tip, though. With only 8 to go, Leon Price, his time on the football field, has been content to catch and pass. They say that the more he's got the ball in hand, the more dangerous and the more that something's likely to happen while he needs to take it on.
I reckon a butterfly in my backyard's been more dangerous in the last 3 weeks. You've talked him up, Ropo. It's now or never. He's got to step up if England are to pull this one out of the fire. Kiwi's in the box seat. And making inroads, thanks to Luluwai. Out the back door from Blair. Oh, they've lost the handle. England are coming back once more. This is Gleeson.
Just to make it exciting, they cough it up again. Just when you want to settle it down. No way, this is the World Cup semi-final. Too much pressure for that.
Burrow, captured by Feen. Some of these forwards that have to be out on their feet on both sides. Westwood plays it back and Graham hits it up. Maguire's got the football. Maguire, he jinks, he weaves, he scores! Danny Maguire goes over, and England are like a bad smell. They won't go away.
Just the grounding to be certain. Shane Hayne seemed like he was in pretty good position to rule it. Injured in the process as well. Maguire. There's a tackle from Smith. He's short of the line. Then he's rolled on his back. Did the ball hit the ground in the process? Short.
He's got it down. I'm sure he's got it down there.
There's a try.
Yeah, 4 points here. We've got a green light coming up from Phil
And
Cooley.
there as well.
Yeah, and not only that, Stephen Kearney's called a pharmacist. He needs some Valium.
He's not on his own. Good luck to England. They've continued to try, and the ball movement across the park has been coming all evening.
Here comes the decision coming from Phil Cooley. 3 letters, 4 points. Grandstand finish coming up just when you thought the Kiwis had booked their passage. So much for that theory. The fans tonight at Suncorp getting value for money in this first semi-final. The shot at goal from Burrow is online. 28-22, 6 to go. And the Barmy Army, Ropo, they find their voice.
Well, and I'll tell you what's interesting there. The man on screen right now and the guy beside him, their trainer, Tony Smith, just barked out one instruction. It persisted for about 20 seconds, and the trainer went straight to Leon Price, and he was in his ear. Look to him to be the money man. He needs to find something special.
Marshall sends us into the next chapter of this one. And haven't we had some chapters? Oh, the ball's been jolted free, and England somehow get it back. And it's their prop forward in James Graham. Talk about lucky.
If you think their ball movement's been good already tonight, sure they've put it down. You watch them move it in these last 5 or 6.
Clock ticking away. England looking to make inroads. This is Price up to halfway and just beyond. He'll be called on to play the football. Back for Burrow. The number 7 now goes to his captain. Peacock surging upfield. Now the last has been signalled. Maguire is the go-to man. Senior and Calderwood queuing up out wide. The ball's come off a Kiwi, I believe. Senior comes away with the scraps. Yes, indeed, baby. 6 more. There'll be no kick coming up. Just a big charge from the big centre three-quarter. 5 to go. A real nail-biting semi-final it is. 16-10 at the split. Still a converted try in this one. It comes across to Morley. The former Rooster goes to ground. 6 metres away. Ball goes to ground. Bouncing ball. Not gone! Dear oh dear. Purdom has come up with a fumble. And with it, I reckon, England's hopes of going through could well be going down the gurgler after that.
Don't call it already. Costa, how many times have we seen the ball go to ground tonight? Many of those occasions, England have been fortuitous where it's gone backwards. This time, the pass doesn't find its recipient, hits the grass, and Purdom, well, he kicked out on the full earlier in the night, hasn't had the happiest of nights. He's not on his own. Can't come up with a clean take.
Remember, it was Great Britain that blitzed the Kiwis last year. 3-blot, a forgettable campaign in the north of England. For the Crayfish, Gary Campbell, the tour from hell, and they've bounced back. They knocked off England last week, and now they lead by 6 with 4 to go in this semi-final of the World Cup of 08. Smith with the carry, 12 short of halfway. Peacock, lucky not to have been penalised for loitering in the ruck. Now the last coming up. I beg your pardon. We've gone one early. This is Kalis. Now, 5th and final. Fiend will look to find Touch Willie. Ball bouncing end over end. Price is back there. Price links up with Gardner. Hard in the mouth stuff. He's lost the ball. It's pop loose. And I'm going to call it chook. It's good night, England. And the Kiwis are going through to the big dance.
Poor old Aid Gardner dropped it on his first touch of the match.
He's had the night from hell. He needs to call it Gardner. He needs to be in the bottom of the garden bed.
Well, he's caught this one, but the tackle and the impact from Manu, Sika Manu, I think it was, has dislodged the football.
And look at the Barmy Army. Like stunned mullets. Chant goes up for the Kiwis. Scoreboard is their friend, so too the clock. And the error count makes for ugly reading for all you English fans. No flop call by the referee. Fiend's got the football. He goes to Smith. You get the impression a field goal could be on the cards here, if not a little dab into the in goal. And now a dancing, ducking run from Thomas Luluwai. From the Warrior plays it back. Smith's got the football, and he's stopped. Try-saving tackle it was from Senior.
Are they setting up for it? Higher out the back?
Now a dab. It goes nowhere, in fact. And who's got it? Kiwis have still got it, and it's still the last. The tackle count has not been nullified. It is still 5th and final. What have they got? Crossfield kick. Big Manu has a chance. Vartuve. Ball goes loose. Back to Road Party. And England, they can't come up with the intercept. And Marshall, Benji boy, says we'll finally put a seal on this one and put England out of their misery. The Kiwis, after all, they are now through to the World Cup final of 2008. Marshall finally gets the fans, the Kiwis, that is pumped up here at the Cauldron.
No need for a conventional field goal. They go right across the field on the back of Fiend's kick, and Manu, he'll go up. And here it gets dangerous. Remember, an intercept can be 6 points the other way. It was right there. Can't quite grasp it. Hands up, ends up in the hands of Marshall. in New Zealand. They go through, but they make us all work for it. Good work from Manu. Up he goes, bats it back. And Jerome here, well, he nearly passed it straight to Maguire, but Benji is opposite in the 6. Pulls it out wide for a bit of fun and puts himself on the scoreboard.
Marshall and the Kiwis can finally breathe easy. They will be back here at Suncorp 7 days from now, almost certainly up against their trans-Tasman enemies, the 9-time world champion Kangaroos, who've been white hot, it must be said, in this tournament. I saw them live most recently at Dairy Farmers, where they could have really slackened off against the Kumals. That was not the case. But New Zealand, first side through to the World Cup decider. Smith, a metre in from touch on this western side of the ground. It'll be waved away, but it doesn't matter. Purely academic, of course, and it remains 32-22 with just seconds remaining. 6 tries to 4. This is the last of them.
And from game 1, we've talked about improvement on improvement, and each week they've shown a little bit more. And again tonight, not 100% perfect, but plenty to like.
A fumble at the back from Kalis, ruled to have been a knock-on, which not too certain that was the case. But that too doesn't matter. There'll be no restart. It's all over for England, and the Kiwis are through at 32-22 in this semi-final in Brisbane. Back-to-back wins for the Kiwis against England. First time they've won 3 games in a row since the World Cup of 2000, and they get their first ever World Cup victory right here in the Queensland capital.
Mission accomplished. Pats on the back, Dean Bell, the management crew. They highlighted this game. They knew they had to save their best for the final, and they had to get through this one. They've done it. Not in convincing fashion against a very spirited English side. They've given everything. Just come up a fraction short.
Let's go down to Benji Marshall. He's with the Nine Network's Andrew Voss.
And I'm with Benji Marshall, 5'8" for New Zealand. Bit of a roller coaster performance tonight. Led by 16 at one stage first half, by 12 in the second. Only sealed it in the last minute.
Yeah, look, it was disappointing to let that lead go. We sort of let our guard down trying to protect our lead, but just happy to get through to the final, mate. You know, none of that matters anymore. We're through to the final, so we're live for another week.
Personal achievement. This is the big stage next week. You're back here at Suncorp, 50,000 fans in a World Cup final. It's a big deal for you.
It is, mate. You know, I haven't been available for a few years at the end of the year, so to be involved in a World Cup and make the final, it's a dream come true, and just can't wait for next week.
Getting ready for next week. How much more improvement in the New Zealand side on what we've seen over the last fortnight in particular?
I think there's still a lot, mate. You know, we still haven't put a complete game together. You know, hopefully that'll come next week, but we're just happy to make the final, mate, and we'll go from there next week.
Benji, nice work at the Harker at the start of tonight too.
Thanks, mate. At least they, full credit to them, they faced up this time, and you know, their supporters have been great. Haven't had a bad word from them. They wished us well before the game, so it's great to see them all out here, and yeah, just thanks for being good sports.
Good performance and well said, Benji.
Thanks, mate.
The English, they never go away.
It was probably a bit scrappy game, but you know, both teams really wanted to win. I suppose both teams had to do anything they could to get the win up. You know, they played awesome. We probably slackened off a couple of times there. We thought we had the game in the bag, but they just kept coming back. So it's a good lesson there for us for next week. So you know, we'll have some hard work to be done for whoever we play next week.
Well, I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Yes, and Nathan Kalis, I might point out too, Chalk, he was there in the World Cup final in 2000 for Frank Endicott. The only survivor. He's back for a second bite at the cherry next Saturday night. Let's go back. Actually, Ropo's busy as always post-match. He's with Thomas Luluwai.
Well, Thomas, everybody's saying number 9, it suits.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, mate. I struggled at the World Cup, and you know, got to give credit to Mooks and Wayne. You know, been talking to me and trying to get my confidence back up, and I owed it to the boys, man. I haven't played well, so I owed it for them.
Mate, is it a case of confidence? We see in the Northern Hemisphere you play some good footy. You've grown in this tournament.
Yeah, it just took me a while, man. That's what it was. Got off to a bad start, and you know, but I just owed it to these guys, you know, they dig in every week and you sort of feel like you're not doing your part, and I just want to do it for them, really.
So you're happy that, well, you go to the big dance next week?
Yeah, it was another game, so it's going to be good.
Well, I look forward to that.
Cheers.
Plenty of Hiwis, of course, for the Kiwis here tonight. Jerome Ropati right in the thick of it. He got a couple of tries tonight. He's with Ropati.
Jerome, last week it was a dusty start. You reverse that this week up against England?
Yeah, and the Saws and what we think we could play at, the potential we could play at, you know, and so, you know, it's good we've got another week to sort of improve and hopefully play our perfect game against the Aussies.
You still see a lot of improvement in this side?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, when we came against the Aussies, our possession, us controlling the ball wasn't the greatest, and it wasn't tonight. Just so happens that the Pommies were on the same page as us. So yeah, we need to clean that up. Hopefully we can be competitive against the Aussies.
Mate, I spoke to Nathan Kalis. He talked about the conditions, the heat. Did it bother you?
Oh, not really.
He's just a forward, huh?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, as a back, it was bothering me too, you know. But, you know, I think just the way the boys hung in, the way we sort of defended our errors, that was, I guess, the key for us, and sort of clinching it at the end.
It was a good old-fashioned game of rugby league, though. It got tough.
Yeah, it was. And credit to England coming all the way out here and playing in front of, you know, such a vocal crowd. You know, they did their country proud, and you know, I guess, you know, just good riddance to them, and you know, we've got another week to live.
Look forward to seeing you next week.
Cheers. I'll just say hi to Carlos, Mia, and Isabella, and also to my son Elijah and my wife there. Cheers.
All right, that's fair enough too under the circumstances. From the victors to the vanquished we go now, and Vossi is with Danny Maguire.
Well, we spoke to the New Zealand 5'8" Benji Marshall, now the England 5'8" Danny Maguire. First of all, on your own game, an outstanding performance.
Yeah, don't really mean anything though. You know, we're disappointed with the result today, and you know, the performance, we made it hard for ourselves. Too many errors, and you can't do that against a quality side like the Kiwis. And you know, full credit to them. They took advantage of every error we made, and you know, deserved to be in the final. You
had to mount more than just one comeback tonight, but I guess the story of the game is you just couldn't get your noses in front.
Yeah, we had plenty of pressure, and you know, just struggled to get over their line at times when we were in control of the game. And you know, full credit to the Kiwi boys when they got up here, they punished us. Our defence, you can't afford to let 30-odd points in the semi-final and expect to win. So we're disappointed, and it's a long, tough season for us now, but real disappointed with the end result today.
Danny, we do appreciate your time in the disappointing circumstances, but can I just ask you about the try right on half-time that you scored? It was a beautiful piece of play to come over and make the call to Rob Purdom just as the scrum packed down for the kick to be on. Yeah, it's something we spotted a little bit in video during the week, and you know, there wasn't long before half-time, so it was worth a try, and you know, it gives us a little bit of a sniff going into half-time, but you know, we just couldn't get there in the end. Well, Danny, very good test match tonight. All the best. Cheers, thank you.
Yes, disappointing exit for the Lions and Jamie Peacock. Tony Smith, the coach. Chook, let's put it on the line here. Can the Kiwis go all the way?
Oh, look, they've got to take the belief into the match next week against Australia, who will be that they'll win the match. But just taking you back a step, Thomas Luluwai tonight, he has got plenty of criticism in New Zealand here and also in Australia over his performances, and most notably in the 7 position. Shifted to the 9 position, he had a good game tonight. He actually played a little bit better last week as well. So there's an area that possibly could be on the rise for this New Zealand camp, and it'll be needed. Well, there are a lot of standout performers for both sides tonight here at Suncorp. Let's find out who was the man of the match.
An outstanding performance from New Zealand halfback Nathan Finn, and 2 weeks in a row. You're going to be awfully proud of your own efforts.
Well, yeah, look, you know, you can look back on these things, you know, it's a World Cup, and just proud to be a part of it all. And, you know, we've got a final next week, so I couldn't be happier.
What's the key on what we've seen tonight and last week? Now you step up to play Australia again. How much improvement, I asked Benji Marshall, how much better is the side than the first time around that you played Australia in this tournament?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've made some pretty big steps throughout the tournament, but having said that, we're going to have to go up another few levels again. You know, they've got class right across their team, and you know, if we make those crucial mistakes we made tonight, Australia are going to hurt you. So yeah, it's going to be tough, but we're looking forward to the challenge. You've come up with 2 man of the match performances at halfback. When the tournament started, did you expect to be wearing the New Zealand number 7? Oh, look, mate, I was just happy to be in the squad. You know, it was a few years since I pulled on the black jersey, and just, you know, as I said, very proud to be involved in the squad, and given the opportunity last week to, you know, play halfback and, you know, just try to grab it with both hands and go out there and do my best, and you know, thankfully we've come up with a couple of good wins. The product of Mount Isa, proudly wearing the New Zealand jumper. You've come a long way since Granny Gate, and next week you get the big match back here at Suncorp. Yeah, very much looking forward to it. You know, it's a great stadium to play footy in, and you know, next week it'll probably be packed. So you know, can't wait for it all, and just want to say hi to my family now up in Cairns. They are, so big hello to everyone up there, and mum and dad in Townsville as well.
Great effort tonight, Nathan. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
That word improvement keeps coming out, Pete, and if they are to face Australia, the Kiwis, there's a hell of a lot to do.
Well, there is, and I think the players recognise and acknowledge that. But if there's a pleasing part of it, they address where they perhaps faltered last week, and that was in the start. The start tonight was spot on. They played with a little bit of shape. The processes were good. Thomas Lulaway, I think, in the acting half was good as well.
Well, Nathan Feeney, I have to jump in, deserved it. His kicking game and all-round directional play tonight, probably the best we've seen all tournament.
It was spot on, and again, as we've seen throughout with most of them in the squad, there's been improvement on improvement. Nathan, he looks comfortable in this side, and each week he becomes more threatening, and perhaps even more importantly, he's certainly starting to push himself or push them around the park. His influence and contribution to the game, it's been good.
We are done, but we are not done for 2008 in this 13th Rugby League World Cup. We are back here next Saturday night for the final. Who will it be? Well, everybody's picking Australia, and don't be surprised if it is the Kiwis against the Kangaroos next Saturday. Watch tomorrow night, find out, and enjoy this moment right now, because the Kiwis, the first team in to the Rugby League World Cup finals. See you next week.